Hi there, welcome to Entertainment Stop. It's James and Ben coming at you with a new video, and in this video we're going to discuss the most recent series of Jessica Jones Season 2. So we both just finished watching it finally, fitting it into our incredibly busy schedules. And Ben, do you want to take us through a little bit of it?
Well, the whole season is just based on Jessica Jones trying to understand the past and how she became the way she did.
Yeah.
And all the characters involved in that.
Well, yeah, so it delves deeper and deeper into her personal life and how we find out a bit more about her family dying. At the start, we find her interviewing for prospective clients.
Yes, that's right.
And one of them's like this Speedy guy who she doesn't believe he is Speedy, but he can only get fast when he's scared.
Yes, and by the way, it's the worst special effect in the world.
I was going to say, so don't think Flash when you think about this this Speed guy. He's not at that level of special effects. And I don't know, they must have cut the budget for it or something.
I don't know what happened.
Whatever it was, he was quite a funny character. I think he was meant to be like that, to be honest, just to be this sort of character that you...
Yes, he was like this podgy, fast guy.
Yeah, you'd think his metabolism would be rapid, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Anyway, so she doesn't believe him, and then we finally find out he actually does have powers, but as she finds out, he's running from somebody, and he's scared, and he basically gets killed, and we don't know who killed him, and that's the mystery.
And then surrounding that, there's a guy that's moved in down the hallway.
Oh yeah, so he's the new superintendent, isn't he?
Yes, and he doesn't like it at first because he's to the bit of time he's biased against people that have got superpowers.
I don't know. Yeah, so he's not. Well, that's what we think. That's what we're led to believe. But he's not actually biased against people with superpowers. He's just got out of prison. He's actually doing some dodgy stuff like creating false documents and things, and he doesn't want the police being brought anywhere near his house.
That's what I love about this character that lives in the hole. For the first, say, 3-4 episodes, he's trying to convince us that he's turned over a new leaf.
Yeah.
and all we hear him talking about is passports he's made.
He's making false documents and stuff like that. So there's that, and he becomes her love interest.
Yes.
So we'll take it from that. What did you think of his character?
I thought, at first I thought, I knew exactly where it was going, only because we've seen it in every superhero show. As soon as I realised that he wasn't going to be just a one episode character, I thought, eventually, they're going to get talking, they're going to like each other, and that's just what happens.
Well, yeah, so she tries to move in on him and have sex with him, basically the first time that they finally share a moment, which is what she does, and that's kind of the MO of her character. Brief flings, move on. She just wants to feel loved.
Not before she downs a whole bottle of whiskey.
Not before she downs a whole bottle of whiskey, but he pulls back and says, no, that's not how he normally does things. He's not after a quick fling, and that kind of changed her mind about him a bit more and makes her think that there might actually be something more there.
Yes.
And there is, and eventually, towards at the very end of the season, I think the last scene is them sharing a meal together with his kid. And that's
it gives her somebody to talk to him about all the stuff that goes on in her life.
It does, and it might be a good way for her to go through a good form of therapy for her.
Because, to be honest, all she's ever had is that Malcolm that lives down the hall.
Well, while we're talking about Malcolm, what do you think of him this season?
I thought he did his job well. His job in the story is to keep Jessica on the straight and narrow. Doesn't do a very good job.
Yeah, so he's trying to keep her on track in this season,
yes.
And he's basically working with her and for her. And the whole season, we see their relationship develop and how he is working for her, and then she eventually makes him associate of the company.
That means absolutely nothing, by the way.
Well, yeah, it's just basically a title. but he only had a small little pokey desk. But he was really happy about it because he saw that as his career moving on and his life moving on. But we find out that he's replaced drugs with sex for his addictions.
He's joined this dating app.
Yeah, so essentially Tinder, but whatever their version is in the MCU, and he ended up getting with Trish, and that whole it's actually quite a good development where you see two people in the show that are not Jessica Jones and somebody else. It was actually Trish and him, and two characters that you weren't used to seeing together really came together in this season.
I would agree with you, only the fact that I thought that's when the show fell off the rails ever so slightly, because it began to start for a few episodes. It revolved around them two.
I get you, but I think that's a good thing. Sometimes you need a break from Jessica Jones and her depressing attitude and move on to Trish and her depressing attitude.
So you just basically substitute somebody else.
But it was a good exploration of the characters. For me, it was nice to flesh out the characters because they're both recovering addicts and both of them replaced their one addiction for another addiction. So she replaced her addiction of drugs for this inhaler that she got from her old boyfriend from the previous season. That made all her instincts heightened, or basically heightened all her senses and made her stronger, but also made her a bit more paranoid, and she was just ready to pick a fight with anyone.
She was one of the most paranoid characters when she'd taken this inhaler thing that I've ever seen on TV.
It was good, and so her story is that she's got this new guy. Her life's moving on, but all she wants is to have powers, basically.
Yes.
That's all she cares about. So that kind of caused the breakdown of her relationship with this other guy. You can probably hear the dog sniffing at the door now.
Because he was going to marry her.
Yeah.
But she just couldn't handle it. She was...
Well, he was quite self-absorbed, wasn't he? He was his own arse. It was hard work. I didn't really like his character, to be honest, but...
He was like this big reporter. Who, that's all he wants to do.
And she didn't so much love him, she loved the idea of being him and having his career.
Yes.
And everything, she just wants to move away from Trish Talk and move on to this new, let me just let this dog in. Move away from Trish Talk and actually get into this new environment of politics and actually broadcasting about real issues.
Yes, rather than tabloid fodder, as you put it.
Yeah, and so how her arc progresses is that she eventually asks or finds out who the guy is that did the operation on Jessica.
Yes.
Basically gets him to perform the same procedure on her.
Yes.
But Jessica turns up and destroys his lab and pulls her out because it would look like it was killing her. And he essentially kills himself towards the end.
And I thought the Trish character, I'm not a big fan of multiple characters that have got superpowers.
Well, you're not going to like it then because it looks like she's developed some sort of power after gene manipulation. I'm
just hoping it's like that she can catch a phone.
Well, that's what, it just looks like she's got fast reflexes at the moment. But wait to see.
But I am quite glad that they wrapped up the whole Trish and Jessica storyline, because I was worried that they'd spend like 5 episodes of the next season trying to get them to talk to each other again.
Yeah, it looks like Jessica's kind of disowned her as her sister. So the reason, I suppose, we should get onto it is we finally find out that Jessica's not alone with her powers in this season. No. And there's also another person in the season who's essentially the villain, but with shades of grey. Not like pure villain like Kilgrave was in the first season. This person's got shades of grey, and it turns out that one of her parents, her mother's still alive, and she's actually got the same sort of powers as Jessica, but she's a lot stronger, a lot faster. She's just basically got every power that Jessica's got, but heightened, and her like craziness is also heightened.
Yeah,
to the point where she can't control her emotions at all, and it leads to her killing loads of people.
they had this scene, and when you first met the mother and you realised that she was trying to live normally, when she was playing the piano.
Yeah.
And the song from that piano has been stuck in my head for like weeks.
I've got the money.
Yes!
That sort of thing.
It's been stuck in my head for weeks.
And it was in mine as well. I'm not touching myself. I'm stroking my dog under the table. So her arc is that she can't control her emotions, but she's actually shacked up with the doctor that performed the procedure on her because her husband's dead, her son's dead. Jessica is still alive. She knows she's still alive, but she knows she's too volatile to be with her. And she shacks up with this doctor who's the only person that can control her, and she loves the doctor, and the doctor loves her. So that's that sort of story. That's the doctor that kills himself in the end because he knows what he's done is wrong.
And also, what I realised that the doctors, no matter how much he said throughout the season, he wanted to make amends for all the experiments he did. He still can help himself, but agreed to Trish's demand.
Yeah, that's right. So he should have just gone away to South America and got away, but he didn't. You're right. He couldn't help himself. He felt like he perfected the sort of gene sequence and wanted to try it out again.
He would have never been happy. That was the one thing he wanted, and he just wanted to keep experimenting on people no matter how much he decided, told people that he was trying to change.
It's mad. So her mum goes through the arc of not wanting to be near her because she's volatile, but then Jessica finds out about her anyway, finds her house, and then we meet her, and then it's the whole sort of relationship between her mother and her and how that develops. And it essentially, or eventually leads to them going on the run after she breaks out of prison. The mother breaks out of prison.
Yeah.
And Trish is the one that ends up killing her. Oh, you can hear Merlot playing with the
I think one of the best episodes was the flashback episode that they do every year. Not in the middle of the way through the season, when it told Jessica how she was when a few years before.
Yeah.
And she was quite happy with the life she had. She had this boyfriend. It wasn't perfect, as it never is with Jessica, but she was happy.
It was about as perfect as Jessica life gets.
Yes.
And in the end, her mother ends up killing the guy because she hears him creating a deal that's basically selling Jessica's help or powers for money. So she basically smashes his head against the wall continuously.
But you also got the idea of how Alias investigations came to be.
You do, and you also realise why Jessica drinks so much because of all the horrendous stuff that's happened in her life. She actually finds her boyfriend dead with his face piled in, and she's had so many horrendous things in her life that it gives a good backstory as to why she drinks so much, just to forget the pain.
So I thought that was a very good episode. It just basically caught you up without having to hit you over the head all the time.
I think you said in our expectations video that that's what you wanted. You just wanted one quick episode, get it done, and then you can move on with the season.
And that's what it never stalled it, because sometimes those episodes can stall it, but it moved right back into after that relationship that built between her mother and Jessica.
Yeah, it just carried on. No, it's good. I liked it. So Jessica herself, what do you think of her character?
She was saying the exact same as she was in season 1. I didn't see much. I didn't see much growth at all. Really, it was done. I love the character, and it's what you want it to be. But she's still the same self-obsessed person she was back in season 1.
Yeah, I think she wants to help other people, but she can't because she can't help herself. She's
always convinced she'll end up hurting them.
And she's kind of been proven right over the course of the 2 seasons. However, she has ended up with this guide from down the hall in her building, so we'll see where that progresses in the next season. But she goes through a few things. She ends up killing her mother's guard in prison, her prison guard, who wasn't a nice person anyway.
No, he deserved to die like
And
that.
he took pleasure in basically torturing his inmates.
We find out that he'd actually killed before, or made them commit suicide so that he could
Yeah, and he
so that
collects trophies of their numbers
yes.
on their uniforms that they have to wear in prison. So she gets into a scuffle with him, and she basically just beats him to death by accident. But
Yeah.
she has to deal with that pain, and again, that's more pain that she has to deal with, more reasons that she drinks, and but we do get a nice little cameo from Kilgrave.
Oh yes, no. I think it's like the third to last episode or something that Kilgrave comes back from within Jessica's mind.
Yeah, so he's basically just a thought in her head.
Yes.
Because she's got mental problems as well, mental issues, mental health problems. She hears him when she did this bad thing, when she killed this prison guard, she had Kilgrave suddenly came back to the forefront of her mind, and and she was imagining what he would say, and how he was saying, "Well, you did the right thing. He was a bad person, and you're super strong. You should probably do this again. You should probably do this to anyone that gets in your way. Why wouldn't you?" And she just sees him, and he appears right in front of her, and she starts hallucinating, imagining him there. He's not actually there. He's not still alive like we thought he might be, but he's definitely still in her head somewhere.
But I thought David Tennant played this role even better than he did the last one, because you've got to bear in mind everything that he says is in her head.
Yeah.
But he says it with such evil intent.
He is an absolutely horrible character. But David Tennant is such an excellent actor at portraying it, and he's not a horrible. He doesn't come across a horrible person in real life, but and you've seen him in Doctor Who, how he's able to flip from Doctor Who to this character, who's just like a complete 180 of narcissism and pure hatred and evil.
I just think David Tennant's little cameo for an episode was just brilliant.
Well, we can only hope he comes back in season 3, because I missed him after getting a nice brief taste of him in that series. I want him back, much like I want the Kingpin to come back in Daredevil.
Oh yes, I'm looking forward to seeing
Wilson Fisk.
I'm hoping.
I'm hoping too. So, how would you rate the season as a whole?
I thought the first season was better as a whole, but the second season had much more development for Jessica in her past.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I think it struggled. I think the first season was superb in the fact that you had that one villain that you could work towards her defeating.
Yes.
The second season was maybe a bit more nuanced.
That's when I felt that it felt like they gave my sister something to do, like the power thing, like with it, so that they could sort of bulk out the story a bit.
Yeah.
It felt like this one up. It felt like they got the main story set and thought, we've got 6 more episodes to do.
And we got that, and I think we got that with a filler of Hogarth and her story arc, where
we didn't mention her, but I thought I thought the actual story was decent, but I didn't think it belonged.
It was just a side story that was there. So she's going through. She's got this incurable disease. She feels like she meets. She takes in a nurse that used to work at the lab that created Jessica. Basically to find out more information on it, and she falls in love with her, and that woman says that there's a guy that's got powers that was in the lab that can heal people, so she gets him out of prison, gets him to heal her, and then she basically comes back and finds her apartment's been ransacked, and it turns out he's a con man. He was working with that nurse, and they're in love, and she's not in love with Hogarth, and they steal all her stuff, and then she goes on to basically ruin their lives.
Yeah, I do. I thought the ending of that story was brilliantly done.
Again, it shows how ruthless her character is.
Yeah, she'll do anything.
And she's now got full control over her law firm. She was looking to be pushed out, and now she's full control, basically, of her law firm after using, what's he called? The guy from down the hall.
Malcolm.
To to basically find out information on them and blackmail her partners.
Yeah, I thought apart from her storyline, we didn't think it fitted very well with what was going on. I thought apart from that, it was a very good season.
Yeah, I enjoyed every episode. I mean, you couldn't label it as being bad in the sense of Iron Fist.
No, let's not talk about
that. So much better than that. And I think even Jessica Jones' worst season is probably better than most shows' best season.
I'm in no way saying this for the bad season. I just thought, because the first season you had, as you put it, you had that one single goal.
Yeah.
And it was to get Kilgrave.
But it was different.
But this one had like 3 different stories running through it.
And which wasn't a bad thing, it's just that sometimes you need a bit more focus.
Definitely.
But again, it's good to see these characters flesh out. So I'd probably give the season 7.5 going on, pushing to 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I was going to say 8.
Yeah, so I think that's a fair assessment. Whereas I gave the first season a 9 out of 10.
It's just a brilliant season.
Okay, so that's basically our thoughts on season 2. Have you got anything else to add about it, Ben?
No, I just hope that with this whole Disney and Netflix war of who's got what.
Oh, the team up.
I'm hoping that, because Disney are starting their own streaming service, so I'm hoping they don't take Jessica Jones and put it on there. I'm hoping it stays on Netflix.
I think they've probably got contracts in place for a certain amount of seasons, or I'm hoping they have. And then you might eventually see them turn up on whatever streaming service they want to have, whether it be called Hulu or Disney streaming service, whatever it will be. I know they own most of Hulu now, so it might make sense just to send that worldwide rather than create Disney.
Because there's only so much money to go around, and you can only go to so many.
Well, if maybe when these seasons come out, I might just. That's the beauty of streaming services, though. You can pay for a month and then ditch it.
That's true, but I am hoping this stays on Netflix. Well, maybe not Iron Fist, they can have that.
Can keep that all day long. All right, well, I think we've gone through it. You gave it an 8 out of 10. I gave it a 7.5. I'm going to stick with 7.5 out of 10.
We're pretty close.
We're pretty close on that. So if you like this sort of video and you want to see more videos like this, then let us know in the comments section below. Or if you want us to do any sort of different videos and different discussion videos, then again, let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching. But before we go, Ben, where can people find you on Twitter?
At Ironside1982.
And they can find me at James Allen Yule. Think about subscribing, give us a thumbs up, hit the bell for notifications for any future videos, and thanks for watching.